everyone. This is the great Lord and Master, Oseron, the Eternal, or the artist formerly known as the Great Roberto. Excuse me while I get comfortable. I'm making a video actually I haven't made a video here in a while. I've been focusing so much on the charts and the Tarot of the True Tree of Life. And I've been making all my videos on using the dry erase board, so I'm back in here today because there's something I want to talk about that's very important. Anyone who watches this channel and has been doing so for a while should know my views on not ejaculating. But there's something that's going on. There's something that's being spread right now. It's called NoFap. It's like a movement called NoFap. Now, which I would commend. I would say that's great, but it's taking the concept of retaining your ejaculations, not ejaculating, and it's also putting that hand in hand with abstinence. That's exactly what you don't want to do. That's probably where the idea of sexual, in not just Abrahamism but Buddhism too, all these religions that advocate being celibate comes from, because they're misunderstanding the true power of sexual energy. And abstinence is not what to do. As a matter of fact, for anyone, right now I'm on my second greatest run so far, and I just broke that plane yesterday. With the completion of yesterday, I'm now at 124 days over 81. And the second number of that is a key critical number, because the second number of 124 is the number of days I haven't ejaculated, but the lower number, 81, is the number of days sexually active with actual phallic stimulation. Because once you get to where I am now, every sexual energy is always flowing through you. You're always moving sexual energy through you all the time. So every day is a sexual day, really. But I'm talking about with direct phallic stimulation. It could be through masturbation or outright sex. But these NoFap guys, these people who are preaching NoFap, they're telling you to not masturbate at all. They're telling you to stop watching porn, don't masturbate, and even in some cases, they're telling you not to have sex with your girlfriend at all. So they're advocating the absolutely wrong thing to be doing. It's absolutely ridiculous. So I'm just making this video in an effort to hopefully reach some people who research this, and I can tell you, man, I've been at this for a long, long time. I'll give you a brief history. I've been aware of this for well over 10 years. I first discovered it when I was about 30 years old, and I'm 45 now. So, but I didn't really get serious about going extended amounts of time without ejaculating, like over a month, because I call the first month. Once you break the first 30-day plane, that's when you're really getting good. Once you break 30 days, you're really getting into a new level of power. But I didn't start doing that until, I think, the end of 2014. I write everything down. Yeah, so let me see what I got here. Yeah, I didn't start going extended amounts of time until the last part of 2014. But I didn't really start getting serious again into sexual power development until it was probably around 2010 or 2011. But even those years, between 2010 or 2011 until the end of 2014, I was still ejaculating on an average of about 4 days. Every 4 days I would ejaculate, and that is just absolutely horrendous. But at the end of 2014, I started to get serious, and I started to go extended amounts of time. And in 2015, I only ejaculated 5 times for the whole year. And in 2016, last year, it was a slightly not quite as good year, but I ejaculated 7 times. Yeah. So last year I ejaculated 7 times, and the year before was 5. And this year, 2017, I have yet to ejaculate. Knock on wood, because last time I ejaculated it was like in November or something. So because it's been over 4 months. 124 days is over 4 months. That's that's a season plus a month. So, and then my all-time record is 135 days. So if I can make it till the end of this month, in past the first day of April Fool's Day, if I can make it past that day without ejaculating by accident, I will be in open water, fresh territory of a new record. So I'm aiming for that right now. But at the same time, though, I gotta tell you, once you get as deep as I am now, you are in open water. You are, you're deep. But the only thing now for me to do is discover what happens when I do go, 5, 6, 7, 8, even a year without ejaculating. That's my goal. My goal is to not ejaculate at all in 2017. That's my goal. In truth, to be honest with you, my goal is to never ejaculate again. That's the beauty of this. Because once you learn how to do this properly, ejaculation is just something that you do not want to do. I have zero desire to ejaculate, ever. I don't care if I'm with somebody or not. The last thing I fucking ever want to do is ejaculate, ever. If I do, I'm beside myself for a number of reasons. Because once you do go beyond, a couple weeks without ejaculating, once you do ejaculate, it's like getting hit by a bus, full bore. It's like getting hit by a loaded Mack truck loaded with cargo, just smashing you with a dead fucking hit. Whatever analogy you want to use for just complete and utter devastation, you can use that analogy in this case, because that's what it's like. So once you ejaculate, it's awful. And the first parts of it, the first, the 0 point, when you first ejaculate, you're just in total shock, because you know what's coming. And then for the first week after that, you're just exhausted. You have no energy. Everything is just fucking. It's like losing your powers almost. So once you get to the place I am now, you just have absolutely no desire to ejaculate at all. But there's no FAP craze. You got people telling people not to use porn, not to masturbate at all, and that's not what you want to do. Because one thing I want to emphasize to people who may not know, this isn't about being really, really careful and not to ejaculate. This isn't about going really, really slow. This isn't about, boring, fucking mediocre sexuality. This is exactly not what it is. This is about pushing the envelope to the very limits of ecstasy, to the point where you are in what I call sexual madness. You are literally sexually insane when you get into these heightened states, because you are you are constantly pushing the envelope. So the idea of not watching porn is a complete fucking is the opposite of what you want to do. You want to engage yourself with every bit of stimulation you can think of. So watching porn, the more erotic and hot, the better. So you do want to watch porn. The only thing you don't want to do is ejaculate to porn. So watch all the porn you fucking want. You want to watch whatever you want it to be as hot as you can stand. You want to push the envelope of your sexual stimulation to the very limits all the time. You're always pushing the envelope to greater and greater levels, because this is what this is. This is transcendental sexual ecstasy. And the first thing you have to fucking get over to reach those states properly is the addiction of ejaculation. But that comes quickly, because once you start to realize how good sex feels after you don't ejaculate, because you've heard stories of women who talk about, glowing after sex. Well, the same thing happens to a man if he doesn't ejaculate. So once a man is engaged in sexuality and doesn't ejaculate, that glow is within men too. So men glow after sex too for hours and hours on end after it. You know, it's the ejaculation that kills. That's what you don't want to do. As a matter of fact, I strongly hypothesize that, for humanity to evolve to the next level of power and excellence, men in society will have to be taught by their fathers to not ejaculate. The last thing you want to do is teach your kids to ejaculate. You want to teach yourself and your children to engage in sexuality without ejaculating. And it can be done, and it's exquisite. It's great. It's better than it's better. The sex, the sexuality or the sex is better than you could ever even possibly begin to imagine if you're a chronic, habitual ejaculator. Because again, we're talking transcendental sexual madness. That's exactly what it is. So these people who are preaching no fap, although the benefits that they talk about from not ejaculating are legitimate, but they join the idea of those benefits with the idea of abstinence, and that is just completely ludicrous and unnecessary. Because it's worse than unnecessary. Because you want to get into deep sexual states. You want to erase your sexual engines. Because if you just practice abstinence, you're not elevating your sexual energy at all. You're just sort of idling at zero all the time. You're not doing anything. All you're doing is just, your fucking cock will atrophy, probably. Truthfully, because part of you want to engage that. You want to engage the phallus. You want to do all these things. You want to race your sexual engines as high as you can stand, and you always want to be pushing the envelope as to what you can take to avoid an ejaculation. Because if you're doing this, you should ejaculate accidentally sometimes. Because if you're not, that means you're not pushing the envelope. Because even still, I push the envelope all the time. I just have developed my techniques to the point where I'm really good at not ejaculating now. I know what to do to let that urge flow past. Because in truth, ejaculation is a sexual energetic mistake. That's what it is. It's a sign that you fucked up energetically with your sexual energy. Unless you want to have a kid. But still, you should. In truth, as a man, you should be ejaculating when and if you choose to, not because you can't control yourself. Absolute fact, and it can be done. Believe me, because I was one of those guys that couldn't last for shit. That's part of the reason why I had to learn this shit. In my case, it was even worse. I had a hard time getting hard. I was masturbating like a fucking demon when I was younger. Every day I'd bust a nut every fucking day. And my phallus was so desensitized that I had to beat the living shit out of my fucking cock just to keep it hard. Never mind fucking, bust a nut. So, but all that changes once you start, withholding ejaculation. Your sensitivity increases. Your sex feels better and better and better, and then after the sexual encounter, you glow just like a woman does afterwards. As a matter of fact, at higher levels, you fucking learn that as a man, you have access to the same sexual energy as a woman, and you can channel it just like a woman. There's two aspects to sexual energy. I call it the masculine and feminine masks of Kundalini. But Kundalini has two aspects. It has a masculine aspect and a feminine aspect. And then once you really begin to learn what you're doing, you as a man can access both aspects of that power. But that's not for beginners, because there's a lot of taboo barriers that you have to cross to be able to get to that point and be efficient. Because the cultural, as I've stated many times, the cultural taboos that we have in society are there for a reason, and it's to keep you imprisoned in ignorance. So, alright, so if you're a no-fapper, don't even listen to that nonsense about abstinence. You do not need to stop watching porn. You do not need to stop stroking your cock. You do not need to stop engaging in sexuality with your partner. You can do all of these things and take the experience to heightened new levels beyond your wildest imagination and still not ejaculate. Okay, thanks.